For me, vitamin C of all skincare ingredients that's been studied the most, with the exception of vitamin A, which is retinol, is probably for me one of the most important ingredients.
Do oily skin types need moisturizer? We've spoken about this before.
They do, absolutely. First of all, oily skin can be oily, which is oil, but it can be very, very dehydrated. Skin cycling has one part of it for me that's a trend. I'm skin cycling, like I do this, and this.
Like naming it is making it a trend. This is Skin Talks, the podcast where we go deeper than skin, products, and trends and explore the conversations that actually matter in health, beauty, wellness, and confidence.
We're a mother-daughter duo and the founders of Boutique Skin Envie. After years inside the industry, we've learned that health is never just about what you use. It's about everything you digest, how you think, how you live, what you eat, how you move, what you put on your skin, and how you feel in your own body.
If you're looking for insight, honesty, and a fresh perspective on the future of health, beauty, and wellness, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it.
Skin Talks podcast by Boutique Skin Envie, hosted by Beate and Natascha.
Welcome back to another solo episode. We're so excited to do this again. We did an FAQ, which is frequently asked questions, a while back, and we got so much feedback on it. I think people just really loved when we could give our best opinions and answers to all of everybody's questions.
Yeah.
So we gathered some more questions, and this time we're going to be doing it in a 2-episode series, like we've done it before. We've done it before. And this one, really, the first one that we're going to really kind of hone in on is like some skincare myths and like more of skincare questions based on just the skin, and questions that we've been asked from a while ago that it just seems like they're still reappearing often. So we really want to just answer them the best of our abilities, get to the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
And then hopefully it really helps people.
Yeah. And also remembering that like the questions that we get asked, we are going to always answer them in the way that is really authentic to us and based on our experience also.
Yeah. And I think also based on like some of the episodes that we've recorded with some industry leaders, like we get a lot of our answers from there too. So it's nice to also have that.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with cleansing, because cleansing, there's been a lot of like sort of myths that's been around, like you shouldn't cleanse in the morning, or you shouldn't double cleanse,
or it's
blah,
cleansing
blah, blah.
isn't necessary.
So do I need to wash my face in the morning?
Well, for me, the answer is like a big, huge, hard yes. And for many different reasons. The first one is you've been sleeping for 6 to 8 hours. And when you're sleeping, you could be drooling. You're putting your face on a pillow that may not necessarily be clean. The other thing is, I know for myself, you sweat in the middle of the night. Absolutely. For me, when I wake up in the morning, I'm curious about you too, Tash, but when I wake up in the morning, my skin feels oily. It like has this feeling of, because I put my skincare on the night before, I've slept for 8 hours, I'm rested, but I have this like feeling on my skin that it's not 100% clean. So I feel like I need to clean my skin to be able to kind of set my palette to the right zone so that when I apply my skincare, my serums and stuff like that in the morning, they're going to penetrate better into my skin because my skin is fresh. With that said, cleansing does not mean stripping. So it's not like you're like deep cleansing your skin. Unless you have something that you're targeting like acne or something more serious, you don't need to cleanse at that level. You can just use something very gentle, or a gentle foam, for example. Yeah.
I agree. For me, it's much more of like, the feeling and the look of my skin. When I wake up in the morning, like it looks like I have a sleepy face, my skin is not bright. When I wash my face, my complexion literally changes. So I look brighter, even if I have no skincare on and I just washed. It's like almost wakes up my skin. So my skin looks brighter, it feels more refreshed, looks more refreshed. So even if it's just for that reason, like I would never skip that in the morning. Yeah. And I would not enjoy putting skincare on a face that hasn't been washed. Like I think it's like a
psychological
cleanliness thing in my brain where like I couldn't put, like I'm not going to put food on a dirty dish,
or like iron dirty clothes.
Yeah, it's like it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
The next question is double cleansing, is it necessary?
I would say it's not necessary.
No.
However, having said that, at night, I would recommend double cleansing. And especially if you're wearing an SPF
or
and
makeup.
foundation.
Yeah.
And you should be wearing an SPF, but I think that a regular single cleanse can clear SPF. But if you're wearing like lots of layers, powders and stuff like that on your face, then definitely double cleansing.
So the best thing is just like would be to use an oil cleanser to really kind of like
loosen
the makeup, get the makeup, the mascara, everything that you have on you, and then based off your preference, like I would love the Simply Clean like an emulsion, like a gel emulsion, so it's not stripping my skin.
It's not no cleanser should strip ever.
Yeah, but at least it's like I'm getting that foaming cleansing feeling. So that for sure. And I would say that's mostly in the evening. I wouldn't double cleanse in the morning.
No, you don't need to in the morning. Just a simple cleanse in the morning, but at night for sure. And especially if you have a lot of layers on your skin.
Yeah. And then the following question up to this is, can you over cleanse your skin? I think you definitely can.
Yeah. And we see it a lot.
With people who suffer from acne.
Yeah. We see it with people who are like trying to correct something.
Yeah.
They feel like oily skin, for example. Oily skin people with acne, they're trying to cleanse their skin clear, kind of. And so when you do that, you can really disrupt the barrier. Like you can overdo it. It's like using too many acids or using retinol too fast or too high a percentage of retinol can definitely like alter the pH and disrupt the barrier. So if you have oily skin, the best thing to do is to use a cleanser for oily skin. And if you have acne, you're hopefully on a very an acne routine for your skin. I think if you're on a skincare routine for acne skin, you'll be put on a cleanser that is for the program that you're in.
Probably has a little bit of salicylic acid in it, something that's going to really help.
But then, if somebody has like, let's say they've gone on Accutane and they're using a cleanser, they may need to use a very, very, very gentle cleanser because anything that would contain salicylic acid or anything else would be maybe too much for their skin.
So moving into actives, this is something that we see quite a bit is, does vitamin C actually work or is it overhyped?
So for me, vitamin C of all skincare ingredients that's been studied the most, with the exception of vitamin A, which is retinol, is probably for me one of the most important ingredients to incorporate into your routine. And what I love about vitamin C is that it's really most powerful in a serum format.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer that because the way I look at serums is you have your skincare routine. We always recommend a 4-step routine, which is kind of like which is not kind of like, but it is a cleanser, a serum, a moisturizer, and then a protection with an SPF. That's your morning routine. At night, cleanser, serum, cream, moisturizer. And if you're going to start anywhere incorporating a vitamin C into your routine as a serum, what that does is it goes and it accelerates and boosts in an area of concern. And what a vitamin C does, it works as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. We know that inflammation in the body, in the skin, is number one root of disease. So when you have inflammation in your skin, it causes premature aging of the skin, pigment, all kinds of different things. So incorporating a vitamin C into your daily skincare routine for me is so important. So no, it's not overhyped, but there's a lot of misconceptions about it. So like vitamin C is not equivalent in all forms of vitamin C. It's an ingredient that's very unstable. So you need to make sure that you're using a vitamin C that is actually a vitamin C that is potent.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that you're going to find that in a $10 vitamin C.
No.
Like what I'm saying is that not all vitamin C's are equivalent in terms of quality. And another thing that I see a lot of is people saying, well, I can't use vitamin C because I'm sensitive or because, and then when you start digging, they tell you, it makes me break out and stuff. There is a vitamin C, believe me, for every skin type. If you're acne prone, if you're sensitive, if you're after menopause, if you're perimenopause.
Vivier or SkinCeuticals.
Vivier, I think, has 7 or 8 different vitamin C. SkinCeuticals has something like, 5 or 6 antioxidant products. 4 of them or 5 of them are serums. And then, so yes, not overhyped. To answer the question, I know that was a long answer, but it's definitely an ingredient that you want to bring into your skincare routine for so many reasons.
Yes. And another ingredient that's also something that you just mentioned before, retinol, is also a very hyped ingredient. So when should someone start using that? I feel like a lot of people are starting to use retinol very young.
Well, yeah, it depends, right? So like if you look at it, if you say, does a teenager need retinol? My answer is going to be a hard no. If you tell me that I have a 16 or 17-year-old son that has acne like crazy, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the circumstance. But for the average person, introducing a retinol into the routine in mid-20s, late 20s is absolutely ideal. It's got so many benefits for the skin. It's resurfacing. It's going to help with fine lines, wrinkles, texture, pores. There's, even sensitivity. There's so many studies done on the benefits of using retinol in a skincare routine. The thing that you should be wary of is that also, like vitamin C, not all vitamin A is equivalent. And we did an episode. Do you remember we did the episode with Dr. Des Fernandez, who is the founder, the OG of Environ Skincare, and their entire line is based on vitamin A. And he explains in detail, if you have an opportunity and you're interested in something a little bit more in depth about vitamin A, it's definitely a good listen because you'll understand it very differently. Vitamin A is something that everybody should be using unless you have any severe kind of like rosacea, acute rosacea. It's going to be tough, or severe sensitivity, a very severe compromised skin barrier. But once you get your skin into like homeostasis and optimum health, you can definitely introduce a retinol into your routine. I highly recommend it. Start low and go slow. So you have to give your skin time to acclimate, and also be wary of kind of marketing and hype, because if you're buying a retinol product that's in a jar that when you open it is exposed to light, I promise you there's hardly any retinol in there. It might have retinol, but there's no efficacy to the retinol. Yeah. Retinol can only be used when it's in an airtight or airless and dark container. Can't be exposed to sunlight. Also, you have to be careful with what other ingredients you mix it with. So for example, if you're treating acne and you're using a retinol, you'll want to use equivalent amounts of retinol with benzoyl peroxide, but you can't mix it in a jar together or in a product together because one will neutralize the other. So you have to do it immediately, one pump of each in your hand, mix it, and then you apply it directly on the retinol area. So it's a very potent, very important ingredient, but you have to make sure you introduce it at the right time and for the right reasons and in the right method.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, can you mix active ingredients safely? You talked about benzoyl peroxide and retinol, like vitamin C and retinol, or salicylic acid. Like, can you mix them?
So this, for me, it's a bit of a loaded question because it depends. So for example, you can't mix certain products together in a jar because they will neutralize each other, so they become ineffective. There's a lot of people that say that you cannot use a vitamin C before a retinol. I don't agree with that because it really depends on the brand. If you're using SkinCeuticals, for example, you can definitely use the CE ferulic and then apply their retinol 0.3, 0.5, or 1% on top. There's nothing that says that you can't do that. But there's a lot of misinformation that's available because of social media and everybody has an opinion. My advice would be, and I'll always say this all the time, is don't mix and match your brands. Get skincare advice from somebody who knows skin, from an expert, and follow their protocol. Because you can layer a vitamin C, you can layer retinol over top using salicylic acid, but you have to follow the advice of the professional who's treating your skin for your concerns and your problems. If you just go and say, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this from 5 different brands because I need to have glass skin or I want to do XYZ, you're asking for problems and for troubles. So really, expert advice, following protocol, and sticking within a brand would be my recommendation.
I agree.
Yeah.
A question that I see often is, why do some good skincare products cause breakouts?
Like, define good is also another question, right? Like, it could be that the products that you're using are not for you. Like the person who sold you the products, or the, the research that you did that made you to decide those products might be not the right products for your skin type and for your concerns. So it'll cause you to break out. It could be because you're allergic to certain ingredients in the products. It could be because it's intentional. Like when you get into medical or professional medical grade clinical brands, sometimes you want to purge. And it's not like purging, they say, oh, it doesn't exist. It does exist. If you have not used proper or good skincare products for your skin and you're struggling and you put yourself, or you go and you get put on a routine that is more advanced to correct, you can definitely have purging, because that's the skin's ability to like regenerate itself in a way, and there's a 28 to 32 day cycle. So your skin is pushing out the bad stuff. And in that process, you're clearing. So, but if you go to an expert who's helping you build your program, they will tell you it's normal if you purge. It's normal if your acne gets worse before it gets better. It's normal if your melasma gets worse before it gets better, or your pigment, I should say. Like these are all things that they'll manage the expectations around it. But
it also goes for treatments, though, like
facials and stuff.
Laser, or I did a treatment once for my melasma, and my melasma came out so strong, like it was insane, and then it just kind of went away. So it's normal that you're allowing your skin to everything to come to the surface and then get sloughed off or fluffed off.
It's normal.
So that's normal also.
Yeah. So it's funny because we're in the process at Skin Envie Medi Spa of preparing. So a girl in town where we live came up to me and said, Beate, I'm getting married next year in August, and like I want my skin to look fabulous. So I was like, okay. So we put her basically on a 12-month program, and she sent me pictures this week on my Instagram page. You have the before and after, and it's like you see what her skin looked like before, and you see what her skin looks during. We're right now March, April. Her wedding's in August. So she's kind of halfway through her journey. I mean, when I saw her skin, I was like, oh my God, it's fabulous. The change in her skin is, I showed it to a friend of mine last night who said, that's not even the same person. I go, yeah, it is. It's the same person. Her skin's totally changed. But my point is that Morpheus 8 is one of the treatments that we did with her. And she told me that after Morpheus 8, she had wicked purging, like lots of breakouts and but it's all part of the process, so you have to trust the professional who's really guiding you. Obviously you want to be in the hands of somebody who really knows what they're talking about, not just somebody who's trying to sell you a product, right? So there's a difference, but purging can be very, very normal, and you actually sometimes want it. It's just, ask the questions to the person that's making the recommendation. Let's talk about sunscreen, because the best SPF is the one you'll actually wear every day. Most sunscreen is greasy, chalky, or peels underneath makeup, and that's why people skip it. Color Science's Sunforgettable Flex SPF 50 is different. It's mineral, tinted, blendable, and it feels like skincare. It protects like an SPF, but looks like a lightweight foundation. Truly the best of both worlds. This is the sunscreen we recommend to people who say, I hate sunscreen. Once you try this, you'll never skip SPF again. Use code SkinTalks15 at beskinenvie.ca. That's BSKINENVIE.ca for 15% off your first order.
Moving on. Do oily skin types need moisturizer? We've spoken about this before.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. They're just oily. If you don't moisturize an oily skin, first of all, oily skin can be oily, which is oil, but it can be very, very dehydrated.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is water.
And most oily skins are dehydrated.
Yeah.
But they have an excess oil production. Their sebum production is like it's accelerated somehow. It's the way their body is, and their skin is wired. But you want to treat hydration. If you take an oily skin type and you don't hydrate it with the right hydrator, which will be something that is more mattifying, something that has got no oil in it, but more water. You can actually disrupt the barrier of an oily skin type and make oily skin worse because and that's, going back to cleansing. You can over cleanse. If you over cleanse an oily skin, you can make it produce more oil. It's like I always say, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, is if you bite your cuticles, your body builds up a defense mechanism and will create more cuticle. If you bite your nails, all your cuticles become very big, and because you've got saliva, but it's a defense mechanism to protect the nail, to protect the fingers.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the skin.
Yeah.
So yes, the answer is yes. If you have oily skin, you absolutely need a moisturizer. It could be like the hydrating B5 gel from SkinCeuticals. I know I'm talking a lot about that today. It's not intentional, but that is or like say the HydroCool serum from IS Clinical. That is a hydrating serum. And in some cases that will be enough because it's very, very hydrating, but it's in a very liquid format.
Yeah.
And that's always true. An SPF on top. And yes, there's SPFs for oily skin.
Very, very true. And then, so why is my skin still dry even when I moisturize?
So
probably you're not using the right moisturizer. You're probably lacking some lipids.
There's a lot. Again, it's a loaded question, right? Like, why does my skin feel dry even though I'm using a moisturizer? So for me, it could be because you haven't exfoliated and these products are not actually penetrating your skin. Mm-hmm. So your skin's not clean. It could be because the moisturizer that you're using is not enough for your skin. You need something more lipidic. It could be because the product that you're using is not a very high quality and it's not actually absorbing into your skin. It could be because you applied a moisturizer, put your SPF on, and the SPF is what's actually drying your skin out because it's too much... like the quality of the SPF is sitting too much on the surface of your skin and it creates a dryness. I've done that just because it's not the right SPF for my skin type.
Yeah.
Like there's many, many, many reasons why your skin can feel dry even though you moisturize. It could be because you're going through menopause and naturally as your skin gets older, it gets thinner and you have less lipids. So you need to provide more lipidic to it. There's so many different things. If you play a lot of sports and you're always sweating,
yeah,
your skin's dehydrated, you don't drink enough water. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
So dig into what you're doing and what you're using, and then ask yourself questions. Am I using the right products and stuff for my skin?
Yeah, totally. Why am I still breaking out in my 20s or 30s?
Well, I think
that goes with product.
It could be product, diet, sleep, stress, water intake. Could be your shampoo and your conditioner, especially. But I would say that adult acne is quite common.
Yeah.
So I would look at the skincare routine that you're using, and I would definitely adjust. If you're breaking out in your 20s and 30s, or like, let's say, for example, it's around your menstrual cycle that you start to break out. You know it usually by the area of where you get the acne. You could be anticipating, when your cycle is. So as you're leading up to that, make sure that at night when you see something, you put a little benzoyl peroxide or start using the complexion renewal pads from Skin Health. It contains a tiny bit of salicylic acid. Use it at night before you go to bed. Make sure you're washing your face in the morning. Lots of things, but it's really usually around skincare routine and lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely lifestyle.
And if you haven't had a facial, if you haven't exfoliated your skin at least once, if you don't exfoliate your skin once a week, like ideally you should be doing it once a week.
I don't even do it once a week.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Tash.
I know. I realize I've been slacking.
Yeah. Just you could even cleanse your face with the bioglycolic cleanser from Jan Marini or Marini Skin Solutions. It's the new name for it. I kind of like the name actually because she's always about solutions. So it makes sense that she would put that into the name of the product.
I know. And I love the new branding.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. We got sidetracked. This question kind of is what we're talking about. Can skincare alone fix acne? Like we said, a lot of it is lifestyle. So yes, skincare can fix acne, but also lifestyle. For me personally,
yeah,
if I'm eating a lot of sugar, like I'll have
breakouts.
So
like same with me.
Literally the next day I will, and this is like eating like gummy bears, like literally like refined sugar candies.
Yeah.
The next day I will have a breakout.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me is like, yes, skincare can alone fix acne, but I think also kind of like, is maybe like the lactose in your life like causing
You have to
acne?
look at a lot of things. You got to look at your diet. You got to look at lifestyle. But I would say
pattern
that
of how
I would say there are cases of acne that nothing's going to help except drugs, like meaning Accutane or an antibiotic of some sort. Like there's just nothing that you're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
But definitely for many, many cases, facials and skincare is enough to clear.
Yes.
But the question is, people, they're not, our society is about instant results, right? So if you have acne that comes and you want to clear it, it could take time. Whereas if you take Accutane, it'll go faster. So,
but Accutane could cause other issues.
And it does. In 99% of the cases that I've ever seen, it does. But there's a way to manage it in a healthy way for your skin barrier and everything. But, and when you start to experience acne, there's definitely many things you can do in terms of product alone that will clear it. But you need to be patient. You need to follow protocol and be again, like patient with a big exclamation point, because just because you start eating healthy for a week doesn't mean you're healthy. You have to give it the time.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle
At least give it
change.
a skin cycle.
At least. And I say, like, I've seen cases of acne, like very, very bad acne that were resolved with product only, no drugs at all, or no, any, like I said, Accutane or antibiotic within like 6 to 8 months.
Which is very doable.
But it takes time, and it's persistent protocol, treatments, following a regime, and being very, very diligent.
Yeah. And
you'll get through it for sure. Yeah. There's a lot of hope for acne people that, and sometimes it's just like a period in your life, right? Your dad's sister, Melita, I remember when you were born, like she was in her 30s or 40s, I can't remember, but terrible acne. And she needed to be there was nothing that she was going to use of skincare that was going to clear her acne. She had terrible, terrible adult acne. Today she doesn't anymore.
No.
So,
but she has acne scars.
She has, it was Tasha. It used to break my heart. I wasn't in the business at
it's so
that
painful.
time. It was like right at the beginning of my skin journey, but no, she had terrible adult acne, and they couldn't figure out what it was. Probably if she would have been put on a proper routine that with the science and technology and all the products that we have available today, she probably could have accelerated that healing a lot faster.
Yeah.
But at the time she had to be put on something. And I don't even know if it was Accutane, because I don't know when Accutane actually came to market.
Yeah. I don't know. And it's Europe too, right?
Yeah, it's different.
We're going to hop into trends now. So we've got 3. Is skin cycling actually necessary? And what is skin cycling? Skin cycling for me is when you're swapping every evening with a different modality or skin, like retinol one night, then microneedling the next night, then the other, like that's what I understand as skin cycling, right? Like you're going through different, I want to say modalities because I'm including microneedling in this, but
yeah. I think there's like skin cycling has one part of it for me that's a trend. I'm skin cycling, like I do this, and this.
Like naming it is making it a trend.
Yeah, but I think that we've been skin cycling for a very long time already and didn't have it as a defined term.
Yeah.
Because skin cycling, I think it's when you build actives into your routine that are more aggressive. Like you introduce a retinol. When you introduce a retinol, you don't introduce a retinol at 1% every night, morning and evening. Or I should say not every night, but like morning and evening. Yeah. You would never do that. I did it. Believe me, you don't want to do it. It's a disaster. So what an esthetician will not normally do is we'll say, okay, this is your 7-day week. And they'll give you every morning, this is step 1, 2, 3. On days 1, 3, 5, and 7, this is what you do. And on the other days, this is what you do. Which is kind of similar to diet. Like when you're doing a weight loss cleanse, let's say, oftentimes there'll be high carb days
loading.
And low carb days, right? So it's a little bit the same philosophy, and it's to help you acclimate your skin into tolerating the actives that you've introduced. But as a long term, like you do always have to skin cycle? Absolutely not. Like I think once you get into a routine, you build up to that level of you have your morning and evening, then definitely you can do it every single day, the same thing. But if you change again your actives and you're like taking somebody from point A to point B, you might have to cycle again at night.
Yeah.
You know, so follow the advice of an esthetician and don't just start skin cycling because your best friend's doing it.
Yeah, like actually do it properly and get the best
You
advice.
have to think about what you're doing with your skin. You know, we talked about on another podcast today about intuition. Like you can feel your skin. When you get up in the morning and you feel it, how does it feel? Does it feel irritated and dry and red and hurting? If it does, don't put acid on it.
Yeah.
You know, if you feel that way, just be like, oh, I got to be a little sensitive with my skin today. It's feeling like I've done too much recently. Back off unless you're on a program that's very clearly recommended by an esthetician or a medical professional. You do this every single, and you push through. It's going to be uncomfortable. Like, let's say, for example, somebody that's going on hydroquinone, especially like with Zio Skin Health, they're going to tell you that it's not going to be an easy process, but it's normal, right? So you have to really follow the expertise of a program and somebody who's recommended it to you that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. Is clean skincare better for your skin?
No, actually. Like, what do you think?
No.
Well, remember we had
we had this one conversation
with Mike Vivier.
Yes, also, but it was another conversation a long time ago with I can't rack my brain about it right now. It's going to come to me. And the woman was saying that when you're, I think also Mike discussed this too, like when you're extracting something from in a
pharmaceutical laboratory.
Yeah, like things are like calculated and measured and properly defined, sanitized. So everything that's going into that product is like of a
has proper tracking, quality control, right?
Yes, exactly. Whereas clean is kind of like,
in
what does
my
that
basement,
even mean?
I'm going to mix it up myself in my kitchen.
Is it natural? Is it clean? Like, what does that really mean? So, but I also think that putting something on your face and or on your body, you want to make sure that it is following a protocol and you're not just slapping on whatever, because you can extract something from a plant and say it's natural because it's not full of chemicals, but like you don't know the actual efficacy of that plant versus the one next to it. There might be a higher active ingredient that could burn your skin or go above the standard of what that should be. And I remember when we had that conversation with the woman, it was like, that was eye-opening for me. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe. It actually can be quite dangerous.
Yes.
Right. And so that's, clean. Clean was a term that was kind of invented to give notoriety, I don't know how to say that, to highlight brands that had more natural ingredients.
Yeah.
And it became a trend because people obviously want to be eating better, doing things better for their body, less chemicals, no hormone disruptors, endocrine disruptors, and all this kind of stuff. And it definitely has a place, but you have to be cautious. We talked about, if you put, if you take grapefruit juice and put it on your skin, it's not going to be great for your skin. If you take a little bit of honey with yogurt, which they do in the Ayurvedic cultures as hydrators and cooling products for your skin, is it dangerous? No. But is it effective? I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I'm not so sure that honey and yogurt will really clear acne or do anything on a long-term basis. The other thing is the standards for manufacturing, right? So when you talk about clean beauty, for me, it also integrates into what kind of an environment are your products being manufactured in, tested in, quality controlled in, all that kind of stuff. For me, that's part of clean beauty, but we don't talk about it because we look at that as like pharmaceutical, and there's a stigmatism kind of around that. That's the pharma industry. It's not good.
Yeah.
And clean is better. Not necessarily.
I agree. Does doing nothing to your skin improve it?
I mean, there's those people, right,
that have done nothing ever to their skin. They have perfect skin. Yes.
They wash their skin every day with Dove, and they come into our Medi-Spa and say, I don't need product. Look at me. But that's like how many people in the world have beautiful skin, and until what age also, right?
Yeah.
I think that doing nothing for your skin I mean, there's a huge minimalist culture that's kind of emerging right now,
which I like.
I like it too.
Yeah.
You need to do the basics. You need to cleanse, you need to hydrate, and you need to protect. And at least that is great. If you do absolutely nothing, and depending on the climate that you live in, like if you live in Canada and you do nothing for your skin during the winter, you could compromise your barrier, get burned, redness. It could be very, very irritating to your skin because of the cold climate. If you're living in a country like Costa Rica, where it's humid, it's hot, you don't need to do maybe as much for your skin as you would in a climate like Canada. So I think it really depends. My recommendation, though, is always with the 3 basics: cleansing, hydrating, and protecting.
Yeah, me too. Now we're going to pop into rapid fire to close this first episode, which I loved. I feel like we got a lot of information out. I'm going to say the questions you're going to answer. I'm going to answer right after. So it's like just quickly come up with yes or no. Do I need a toner?
No.
No.
Depends.
I think toners are fun. I honestly like
Biologique Recherches P50T.
Yeah.
You need that.
Or Environ Hydrating Toner. Like, I do kind of like a toner, but is it necessary? No. But is it fun? Yeah.
And it can be very good for things like the P50T it's a staple, and it's like a facial in a bottle, right? So yeah, you need that one, but I'm not so sure about all the rest of them.
Are face mists useful? Yes.
Yeah. Why? Hydrating. Setting makeup.
Yeah.
If you're flying.
Best.
Very dehydrating. A face mist is really going to help to rehydrate.
If you have sensitivity, use the phytoactive mist from SkinCeuticals. It'll like help soothe any redness that you have. Yeah. They're useful.
They're useful. Necessary? No.
No. Is an eye cream necessary? Yes.
I would say yes. I mean, if you have the budget, right? If you don't have the budget, you can get away with not using it in your life and just pulling your cream up closer to your eye area, which a lot of people do. But if you have the budget, the eye cream formulations are different than the skin cream formulations, because the eye area, like the neck and the hands, is a different type of skin, and it will age differently. So it needs different attention. But it's not absolutely necessary, but I highly recommend it.
I think it's necessary after 35.
Well, that's when I started to use eye creams.
I feel like when you're in your 20s, you don't need an eye cream.
Unless you have
like
dry eyes.
Yeah, but I'm saying like for like really like it's necessary when you're like over 35, because then you're going to start to get like some wrinkles, and if you want to hydrate there, like that's like not, if you're talking, you're not even going into like somebody suffers from dark circles, like extreme dark circles or puffiness. Like this is just like the normal aging.
Yeah, the eye area needs different attention.
Yeah.
And so does the neck.
Yeah.
The skin on your body is different than the skin around your eyes and face. Like all your skin is different all over your body if you look at it and really break it down. Even if you touch it and pinch your skin on your legs versus skin on your cheeks.
Completely different.
Different, right? Skin around your eyes, like it feels different.
Yeah.
It has different thinness, texture, plumpness.
Less lipids.
Yeah, it's very, very different. So yeah.
So that's it for today.
That's it for episode 1.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for episode 2.
Yes, stay tuned. Thank you for listening to Skin Talks.
If this episode inspired you, taught you something new, or just made you feel seen, please share with someone you love. And if you believe in thoughtful and empowering conversations that help you make better choices for yourself around your beauty and wellness, please rate and review the show. It helps us to grow our community, and we deeply appreciate it. Because this isn't just about skin.
It's about claiming your beauty, feeling strong, informed, and at home in yourself.
See you next week.